All right, so 1 year abroad, and I've got a list of 5 things that I wish I really would have paid attention to. Had I known I was going to end up in Vietnam, the first thing I would have done was studied some elements of the language. At a minimum, I would have worked on the alphabet. Um, Take a little tangent here on it. It is a tonal language, as most of you know. It's probably one of the most difficult. It's ranked very high in being difficult. As we get older, it's difficult to learn languages. Tonal can really take its toll, especially if you have a little bit of hearing loss from whatever your industry was. Um, a quick rundown here. It's 5 tones and a no tone, so effectively 6 tones. A word can be spelled a certain way, but the tone changes its meaning, and it doesn't mean that it's going to sound, or the definition will be the same as the same word with a different tone. And in that, one word can have multiple meanings in that tone. For example, da can be ice, it can be kick, and it can be rock. I'm sure there's other meanings, but pretty rough example right there. Additionally, there are multiple accents, but there are 4 major accents: the North, the Central, Southern, and the Western. In the North, the way I was taught is the North would be considered the gold standard. It'd be true England English. In the South, they blend 2 of the tones, the hoi and the yang. And so you need to be thinking contextually when you're listening, because those words could be totally separate if you're speaking Northern. Additionally, certain towns have different accents, and I've had one of my teachers tell me that there are particular towns he's been to where he just would appreciate those Vietnamese people being able to speak English so he could actually understand. Anyway, you want to find a good teacher when you hit the ground. You can do some research online and find some. With regard to number 2, it'd be a cultural change. One of the things that they do very well in Vietnam is take a rest in the afternoon between, say, roughly 11:30 and 1 o'clock. So if you do anything at a government building, it's going to be shut down at that time. Banks close down at that time as well. There's some variation in there, but when you're here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to clear your day if you're doing something. It's going to take a little bit of time. Also, being on time in the West, we're taught very rigidly to be on time. 7 o'clock is 7 o'clock. It's not 7:05. It's not 7:10, right? And in my experience, there's been some flexibility, and I appreciate that. I think that's one of the things that the Vietnamese culture does a lot better than we do in the West. Third thing I found is that in the language barrier, there also exists an element of loneliness if you're trying to communicate with people. You go so far, so many people here speaking English, and they do it pretty well. But even at that, there is slang, colloquial meanings, and really, I've learned that language is really just getting one idea across the other, and having the willingness to be receiving what the other person's trying to say, as well as they themselves having the willingness to hear what you're trying to say. So I've had conversations with some locals that don't speak any English, but we've communicated the idea pretty well. And then on the other side of that, I know some people that speak English second language very well, but couldn't get the idea across the same or receive what they were trying to say. So I just didn't pay enough attention to that. And when I get the chance to meet up with my expat friends, I really value that time and being able to share thoughts and ideas so efficiently, right? Number 4, the food. That is another thing I underestimated. Food is very healthy here. I used to run right around 190, 195 pounds. I'm down to 170, and I've done nothing to, I haven't gone on a diet, haven't gone anything trying to lose weight. Um, it's just a healthy lifestyle. Buy my vegetables, still eat meat, seafood, fresh fruits, buy these things every other day. Um, so it's a very clean diet, and it's a very healthy lifestyle. You see very few people overweight in Vietnam. Um, I know when you go to the States, that's kind of a challenge. There's a lot of fried foods and heavy portions. You know, so the food, I really appreciate that. And number five, okay, this one, number five, cost of living. I cannot stand the videos that you see out there with all the clickbait of live here for $250 a month, or whatever. And I absolutely hate those. And I told myself I'd never talk about cost of living here. So I'm going to trespass on that one. Anyway, when I first moved here a year ago, my apartment was about 238 US a month. I was a few blocks off the beach in the Antong area, which you see behind me there. And it's pretty happening, right? But tourism is up. It is peaks, or it's coming into peak season. But regardless, people are moving here. There's a lot of people coming in from all parts of the globe. And you're not going to find that same apartment at all now. And additionally, I'm not moving to some place to survive. I want to live well and live comfortably. And I'm not looking for that apartment anymore. But I like being in the neighborhood. And so it's probably double now what I was paying initially. But it's very inexpensive. Doesn't matter if you end up here or Thailand or Cambodia or Bali. Philippines is also inexpensive. I plan to do some topics on that with my friend Rudy, that's in Cebu. I can't wait to get my best friend Blythe on and talk with him about how he goes 6 months here, 6 months in the States. And what's perfect to talk about in the cost of living piece is necessarily the cost of living, but what is the cost of not going now? And I get it. I wasn't able to, and I had to go to a certain age to qualify for my pension. So some of us are locked in, right? But also, what is that number? In the West, we're taught to get more, have more, do more. I used to follow a guy that his thing was introducing additional days into your 24-hour day, to think of it along those lines. And that's another Western way of thinking that I just challenge now, having been abroad for a year. I don't think that's, we might give a lot of thought to what the number is that we want to have in savings or in income, whatever it is, right? But is that really the number? And what's the cost of not going now, when you can be free to move and climb the mountains and walk the beach and go swimming and enjoy your time, right? So at the time I'm making this video, I've got to be back in the States in a couple months, and there's a list of items that I need to take care of. As a holdover from my industry, I was very methodical in making lists and operating like that. I made a Gantt chart and I cost loaded my schedule, and I wanted to be as efficient as possible, spend as much time with my family when I get there. And what I found was I was waking up even earlier, and these things were creeping into my mind and my daily thought. And I just appreciate having left when I did now, because Had I stayed working for another 5 years or 6 or 7 years, and going to age 60 was my plan, man, I would have missed out on so much. And on top of that, how much life did I just give myself extra here by reducing that stress down? So I hope to explore more of that in that upcoming video with Blythe, Rudy, Phil. Phil's another guy, left early. He's been living abroad for several years now. So anyway, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. I'll know that the content's good. Thank you. Until next time.